Okay, still working on section 2.1. Now we're going to make a relative frequency histogram. Now the only difference between a relative frequency histogram and a frequency histogram is that a frequency histogram has frequency on the side. Our relative frequency histogram is going to have relative frequency on the side. Ooh, messy. Okay. Our highest relative frequency was a 0.33. Let's see, I think I'll go 0.05, 0.10, 0.15, 0.20, 0.25, 0.30, 0.35. Okay? So relative frequency on the vertical axis. The horizontal axis will look just the same as it did on the frequency histogram. We're going to use our class boundaries. So we break our axis. We're going to start at 2.5, and then 8.5, 14.5, 20.5, sorry, 26.5, and 32.5. Okay. And these numbers in our class boundaries, they represent the number of students visiting each week. Okay? So the number of students each week. It's hard for me to write at the bottom of my paper, so I apologize. The number of students, each week. Okay. And of course, we still need our title. We can do the same as we did before, Professor Hill's weekly visits. So Professor Hill's weekly visits, something like that. All right. Again, we're just going to make bars. For our first class, our relative frequency was 0.33. So I'm going to go up to where about 0.33 would be and make my bar. Okay. For the second class, the relative frequency was 0.30. For the third class, 0.20. For the fourth class, 0.07. And the last class, 0.1. And there we go. There's our relative frequency histogram. What do you notice about the shape? Again, skewed to the right. And it makes sense. It should look like our histogram because the highest frequency will have the highest relative frequency. So these two graphs should have the same shape. Okay? Let's look at the next graph. Making an ogive. Now, we've used frequency, we've used relative frequency, so it makes sense that this one's going to use cumulative frequency. So, on our vertical axis, we're going to write cumulative frequency. Now, we need to get all the way up to 30. So I think I will just go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay? So there's our cumulative frequency. Again, the horizontal axis is going to look just the same. We're going to break it. We're going to start with our lowest class boundary with 2.5 and then go by sixes. 8.5, 14.5, 20.5, 26.5, and 32.5. Now on an ogive, what we do, we start on the horizontal axis at 2.5, you put a dot down there at 0. Now, the cumulative frequency of the first class is 10. So I go right here above the upper class boundary of the first class, and I put a dot at 10. Okay. Then the cumulative frequency for the second class is 19. So I come over here to 14.5, and I go up to 19, and I put a dot. Okay. For the third class, our cumulative frequency is 25. So above 20.5 here, I go up to 25, and I put a dot. Okay. For the fourth class, we're at 27. And for the last class, of course, we're all the way up to 30. Okay. Now, we're just going to connect the dots. There we go. We have everything except for the one thing I tend to forget, which is our title, and these are Professor Hill's weekly visit. And I also forgot to label my horizontal axis. Number of students per week. So this one graph is different from the other two. It's a line graph instead of a bar graph. And because it's using cumulative frequencies, it will just keep going up and up and up. All right. Woohoo! We're done with 2.1. 2.3 is much, much shorter, just so you know. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.